What if I told you that Real Madrid's shocking Copa del Rey loss to a Segunda División team wasn't just a bad day at the office? It was the culmination of deeper issues that could spell disaster for one of football's greatest clubs. Today, we dive into the fallout of Xabi Alonso's sacking and why this defeat might be a sign of bigger problems brewing at the Bernabeu. To lose such a game requires a combination of factors: the exhaustion from traveling back from Saudi Arabia, the lack of star players like Jude Bellingham, for example, failing to break through a tight defense, conceding more set-piece goals than expected, lacking star power, substitutions that didn't make an impact, being caught by a surprise counter-attack, poor pitch conditions, bad weather at kickoff. All these factors coming together can lead to trouble, especially when you unexpectedly have to travel long distances like going from Guizhou to Saudi Arabia for the Super Cup. But they lost to Segunda División, not to a fourth-tier team like EFL League 2, nor to an eighth-tier team like Crystal Palace. Segunda División is the second tier, but when you've just sacked the coach, incidents like this magnify the topic of the dismissal. Why the sacking? This Super Cup match revealed some internal issues. Let's start with the post-match analysis. Real Madrid initially played a solid counter-attacking game, which was fine because Barcelona were in their so-called runner-up mode. Rafael going into the middle seemed to utilize his shooting ability, but the goal in the second half was a deflection, a bit lucky, as it took a bounce off someone's foot, resulting in Real Madrid conceding the third goal and ultimately losing. Pedri could have been very effective in the corridor between the wing and the edge of the penalty area, but Rafael occupying that position disrupted Pedri's flow. Remember the second goal? It was a clean and precise build-up, but Rafael standing in the line blocked it. If not for the runner-up mode, Pedri could have exploited the wide corridor to deliver a straight pass to Robert Lewandowski for a clean finish. So, Rafael's consistent central presence wasn't impactful. Only Lamine Yamal's wide play on the right remained. However, Yamal isn't as magical as he was in previous seasons. Real Madrid's defensive approach wasn't entirely wrong. Xabi Alonso's tactical direction was good. So why did they concede? Mainly due to defensive issues. The second goal was a straight pass through the middle, easily breaking through the defensive line for a one-on-one, making it look like a video game. This was related to Aurelien Tchouameni playing out of position as a centre-back. For most of the game, Real Madrid's compact defence was decent. The crucial moment was the first goal. Even if the second and third goals were due to skill and luck, the first goal wasn't about ability. It was carelessness, a gift, a mistake. Why, in a compact defensive setup, did they try to cycle the ball in their own half, resulting in a turnover? Rodrigo misplaced a pass back. In a counter-attacking strategy, the offence should aim to conclude quickly, not reorganise in the back. Like in the Chelsea versus Manchester City match, it was mentioned that an interim coach might not know how to instruct players on proper tactics. This time, it wasn't that the coach didn't know. Real Madrid played a counter-attacking game throughout, aiming to conclude quickly, keeping it simple, with long balls from the back. It was just that one moment of trying to rebuild from the back that became a gift. In other words, the coach chose the right tactics and instructed accordingly, but someone randomly losing focus led to that gift and the first goal. Before conceding, there was another instance, failing to conclude the attack quickly, passing back, and finally Rafael missing the shot. Essentially, at a certain point, some players lost their focus. Playing a normal counter-attacking game would have worked. Don't rebuild from the back, conclude attacks quickly up front. That way, the first goal might have been avoided. At the 45th minute, sticking to the counter-attack led to a goal. Aurelien Tchouameni won the ball, Fran Garcia carried it forward, and Vinicius Jr. took on multiple defenders. Pure individual skill in a simple counter-attack. At the 50th minute, skipping the build-up, a long ball led to a corner and then a goal. The tactics were spot on. After scoring, even conceding to luck or skill wouldn't necessarily mean losing. A draw was possible. The players just needed to avoid mistakes, stay disciplined, and not give away gifts. You can avoid giving gifts. Don't pass back, don't rebuild from the back, kick the ball forward immediately. Looking at external news, it's said that Xabi Alonso needed to manage young players, coaxing them. Young players like freedom, don't follow tactics, lack discipline. Other reports suggest Real Madrid's so-called big stars don't like coaches focusing too much on details, preferring freedom. But football is all about details and discipline. Without tactics, it's just chaos. Not playing with tactics would mean everyone just plays guerrilla style. Jose Mourinho, Zinedine Zidane focused on details and had tactics. Even if not possession-based or high concept, there were basic principles, basic tactics, basic discipline, basic execution. Without these, what's the plan? Some say only coaches like Mourinho or Zidane can control the big stars. Big stars don't like Xabi Alonso because he was their teammate a decade ago. If club president Florentino Perez believes only a high-profile championship-winning coach can manage these stars, then I warn you, you're heading into more trouble. Others argue that the CEO chose Alonso, while Perez thinks Alonso lacks experience. So I ask, which coaches in the market today can truly manage big stars? Zidane, Carlo Ancelotti, Mourinho, these championship-winning, experienced coaches. There's a gap in the market. If you insist on a coach with top league or UEFA Champions League experience, there are very few over 60, like Ancelotti, Mourinho. You might not get them or they won't stay long. For those over 50 who can manage big stars, Jurgen Klopp, Zidane, Pep Guardiola, many aren't available or won't leave their current roles. Choices are scarce. Mostly, the 50-year-olds lack major titles or can't manage big stars, and the 60-year-olds are hard to get. As a result, top teams often hire coaches in their early 40s, and many in their early 40s can't manage big stars. So, will Real Madrid stop hiring coaches? No options? Choosing Xabi Alonso was actually a good move. If you still say he can't manage and sack him, it means Real Madrid lacks tactical culture, allowing such behavior to grow. The result: Real Madrid will soon fall from the ranks of elite teams. Over time, stagnation leads to decline. Relying on buying stars keeps some advantage in La Liga, but the gap with Barcelona will grow because you can't find a coach. Modern coaches have new ideas, are young, break conventions, but often can't manage big stars. If you don't have a culture where stars respect the coach, you're doomed. Remember when Guardiola managed Barcelona's dream team? He wasn't a big name initially, but there was a culture of respecting tactics. Real Madrid doesn't have that, and they'll soon be out. Don't keep harping on the Di Stefano era. Back then, there wasn't a complete tactical system, just player ability. You can't rely on that mindset in the future. Previously, 60-plus coaches could manage big stars and win the Champions League. That will become increasingly rare. If you lack championship-winning coaches, have a coaching gap, can't hire the right ones, can't manage big stars, long-term, you won't win the Champions League. When you're not winning the Champions League, you're not Real Madrid. If you're not Real Madrid, you're nothing. If you can't turn this around, it's your fault. Let's see what you do, Real Madrid. Soon, you'll fall from the elite ranks, just holding on in La Liga. If you were in the Premier League, you'd already be a mid-table team. You're a capital club, lucky to have inherent advantages, but sports are fair. If you don't win the Champions League, you're not winning it. Thanks, goodbye.